Dance hall music, a few years back, you came out and criticized a few artists for using dance hall music and not giving the proper credit.
Yeah.
Can you kind of speak about that? I know it was like Drake, Justin Bieber, and somebody else.
There's a lot of people, and I'm not. Yeah, I am a fan of Justin Bieber. I like some of Drake's music. I'm a fan of Ed Sheeran. So is my mom. But all these people, they come use the genre, or they use the rhythm that's like, very similar to what we do. And it's still called hip hop, or it's still called their R&B music. And fans who were 5 years old back in the day, they're now 15. They're like, oh, this is innovative. This is the new hip hop. This is the new, whatever it is. And it's weird, because the adverse, if I did that with Willie Nelson's music, and I came out and said, this is my new single, and I said, it's all country and Western oriented in the music, and I'm like, mama, don't let your son grow up to wear panties. People would be like, what you doing, bro? Like, you can't just do that music and say that it's your new music. That's country Western you're doing now. So at least say you're doing a country and Western album. So how come when they're doing our music, Sway Lee and French Montana, as I said, Rihanna, Rihanna is actually the one that I rate the most out of any pop artist who is dabbling in the music and doing it. R. Kelly did it. Move your body like a snake, ma. Snake, ma. That's dancehall right there, man.
Yeah.
Missy be putting it down. That's dancehall, bro. Paul Wall, that was dancehall too. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I see and I know it, and I understand the confusion of maybe people in the States, because I was caught up in that confusion as well. I have a sister who was a teacher in Miami. And she called me when Give Me the Light broke, and she's like, yo, there's kids fighting about you in my class. And I'm like, what you mean? She said, well, a couple of kids were playing the song, and some other kids was like, yeah, this new hip-hop is dope. And the Caribbean kids in the class were like, no, that's dancehall. And they were like, and they started to argue, no, that's new hip-hop, that's not dancehall. So for me, it's always been like, I've had to keep telling people it's dancehall music that I do. And then all of a sudden came reggaeton, which we influenced too. And, I've been sitting on a plane beside an elder Latina lady, and she's like, well, what do? You have on chains. You look like an artist. I was like, yeah, my name is Sean Paul. I do dancehall. And she's like, what dancehall? I was like, yeah, it's like the son of reggae, like a brother to hip hop. She goes, oh, reggaeton. I'm like, no, not reggaeton. It's different. So I've been fighting all this time, waving the flag, gaining so much fans, and then there is still some confusion, or so much, so that people just can use the genre and not say, oh, big up to these people, Sean Paul, Shaggy, Shabba Ranks, Super Cat, these people who led the way for me to be able to just go on this track and heat the place up. You know what I mean? All those names are mentioned. The only one out of all of those pop stars is Rihanna, because she says, I'm doing a dancehall album, which I cannot wait to hear it. But that's, to me, giving accolades to the genre, not just coming down to kind of like, liaison or mess with one person or a next person, or do a collab here or there. If you're going to do the whole thing by yourself, in your album, and have other step outs and whatnot, and not say that that's dancehall music, I kind of feel slighted by that. I feel like I'm lost again. You know what I mean? This same lady on the plane, oh, reggaeton, or these kids in the school, that's new hip hop. It annoys me, because the genre, I appreciated it so much as a kid, and as I explained to you, there was no difference when I was growing up between LL Cool J and Bunty Killer. There was no difference for me. Those two artists, even though the pay grade was different, was to me just like, two very top artists in those genres. And when people don't get it, it annoys us. We've started, we've helped to spawn music like reggaeton, We've helped to influence what Afrobeat sounds like now. I mean, Fela Kuti's music 20 years ago didn't sound like this Afrobeat that we're hearing now from Davido and from Wizkid. It's heavily dancehall oriented. Also Trinidad music or Trinidad music. Now Trinidad is known for calypso and for soca music, but lately in the past 5-6 years they've been producing something that they call Trinidad music, and they spitting like us, and the rhythms are sounding like us, and they got jugglings, which is a couple artists on one rhythm. So for such a powerful genre that we've all these pop acts and the reggaeton, the Afrobeat, the people in Trinidad, and even artists that are Middle Eastern oriented. Like I'm talking to this girl right now named Encina, I think her name is. She's based in Brooklyn or in Queens, and she's Arabic, and her music, she's singing in English, but you can hear in her voice the type of flow she's doing. But the whole music track behind it is dancehall oriented. So for such a hardcore music to come out and be, known all over the world and done by everybody in the world and not get the accolades, it's kind of upsetting to me. You know what I mean? Reggae has its place. Dancehall don't really have no place. When we win a reggae Grammy, we're winning a reggae Grammy. We're kind of taking it away from the icons who are doing reggae. It's crazy. So I get that every genre that comes up, you can't just, just name it and or you can't just give it a category in a big thing like the Grammys or whatever. But, this little platform or this little dancehall music took me around the world, helped me to gain a Grammy and also an American Music Award over Justin Timberlake and Kanye West in 2006.
Yep.
And I feel so proud of it. I waved the flag for it. So when people don't get it and they do it without giving the proper accolades, I'm a bit ticked off.
You talking got me curious because in America, obviously, we hear reggae and dancehall and kind of put them together ignorantly enough. But you're saying that there's a big difference between reggae and dancehall. So my question would be, who was like the innovator or the creator or like the founding father of dancehall?
Well, man, unfortunately, he passed this year. His name is U-Roy.
Okay.
Big up to U-Roy, R.I.P. to him. He was the first cat who used to go on the records and toast. It was something that MCs were doing in Jamaica on live, like same like maybe I guess before Sugar Hill Gang, like people they in the hip hop they used to just go toast on the mic and freestyle, you know what I mean, and do that thing, and then it started to be recording, and the first person to do recordings like that was U-Roy, and he passed away this year. So R.I.P. to him. Our genre is also, the lines are also blurred too, because then in the middle of dancehall took over in the I would say very early 80s.
Okay.
Took over from reggae as what we loved, how we love to express ourselves. We still made reggae music. We still had a lot of key players that were international reggae bands and also local reggae bands. But what the kids were listening to was dancehall music, and out of that, came a whole rhythm pattern that was very danceable, very infectious, almost military, with the drums and the bass, and that's what we love to spit on. And there was fusions with the music, with the hip hop in the earlier years, like KRS-One and Shabba. People like Special Ed had Jamaican roots and put certain things into the songs. Busta Rhymes, eating I thoughts do like the one Peter Tosh.
Yep.
All over the track, like all of that stuff was from Heavy D, Shinehead. All these people were people who were in the hip hop industry that was giving a salute and a nod towards what we did. They weren't going on actual dancehall tracks, so to speak.
Right.
They were doing hip hop stuff, but even Queen Latifah, UNITY. UNITY, that's a unity. That whole melody comes from our genre. That melody, I don't know if y'all know, but it's something that comes from what we've done before. So, when we saw that as kids growing up, I loved it. But now, when they're using our own tracks and our producers, legendary producers like Sly and Robbie, Steely and Clevie, Bobby Digital, Rest His Soul, people like, Dave and Tony Kelly, all of these people gave us something that's ours, that was uniquely my generation's music. It was how we spoke to each other, and it's how we told the story of what's happening in our community. And it's just for me still a shame that people don't know where it comes from, but it's also blended with the hip hop, and then also Caperton and Sizzler and artists like that came around, which now they were spitting, but they were spitting on reggae tracks, so it further confuses people. But for me, the genre to me is reggae dancehall at this point. It's blended. Chronix is a big artist. He claims to be a
Can you still hear us?